I am Rebecca Stone. I head up customer solutions marketing for Cisco, which is really just a fancy way to say product marketing. And I will be joined on stage shortly by my friend and colleague, Omri Gilfand, who heads up product strategy for our SASE products. And we're here to talk to you a little bit about a theme that you probably started to hear. Hopefully many of you made your way over here from the keynote and heard it there. If not, you'll probably hear it over the course of the next few days, which is that Cisco is on a journey towards simplification. And we are on a journey towards helping you simplify your IT infrastructure. You heard Javed talk about hybrid work and how we're trying to unify the solution around hybrid work to make it easier for you to install solutions for remote workers and across your office. We also talked about security, and you heard Tom talk a little bit about how we are unifying all of the different applications and products that we have from a security perspective in order to have that unified security platform. The last thing that you heard was from Jonathan Davidson, and Jonathan talked a little bit about your network infrastructure and how we are on a journey to simplify that. What you probably heard from Jonathan is hopefully two things, since I wrote that messaging, so hopefully he delivered it well. The first was really a journey towards the convergence of hardware. And that hardware across your access networks, your data center networks, even between security and networking. The next thing that you heard was that we are on a journey to deliver that all via a cloud platform. And when Omri and I were talking a little bit about this presentation and what we were going to do to explain how and when the convergence was going to happen, we were trying to come up with a few real-world examples for why this was important and a way that you could kind of visualize how this was going to happen. And the recommendation that he suggested was actually currency. And as I thought about it, at first I was like, I don't really get it. And after I thought about it a little bit, I was like, oh, this actually makes a ton of sense, particularly here where we are today. Because when I first started traveling across Europe, and this might date me a little bit, but when I first started traveling across Europe, I had to go to a bank and get a traveler's check. And then I had to go to another bank when I arrived in the country and cash that traveler's check and get a certain currency for that country. And every country that you went to within Europe, you had to do the same thing. And that was a complicated process. You had multiple currencies in a very small region. And then the euro was introduced. And that is sort of like the convergence of hardware, right? Is that it all came together into one thing. The next thing that happened is the next few times that I started to travel was I had credit cards. And that was a simplification in itself because I was down from 10 different currencies to 3 credit cards, my business credit card, my personal credit card, and then my ATM because, I still wanted to pull out that cash if I needed it for something. That was a simplification because we moved from one type to an easier type. This trip, however, it was completely different. Because this trip, I didn't use any of that stuff, even though it's still in my purse. I used this. I've used this almost everywhere. And that's an example of a move to a cloud platform because it really exemplifies the coming together of all that currency into a simple, easy-to-use device on your hand. And this device not only delivers that currency and helps me buy things in all of the stores and restaurants that I've been to, but it also helps me because I'm able to talk to my kids, and I'm able to do WebEx calls, and I'm able to answer my emails, and I'm able to do running. I tracked my run this morning, too. So it is really, truly a convergence of all these things on a cloud platform that simplifies it for me. Unfortunately, that simplification for me has made it increasingly complex for you to navigate. Because there is the connectivity that I now have to have 24/7, whether I'm in the office or I'm here or I'm at home. It creates complexity if you are delivering an application to me because you have to think about multi-cloud and hybrid cloud solutions. And then add a layer on top of it in that we are in an incredibly complex security environment because I need to be secure no matter where and how I'm working. This causes your IT experience to suffer. I've talked to so many customers this week who have said, we can barely keep up with the things that we need to keep up with. It's really, really hard. It's hard to scale, it's hard to be predictable, and it's really less reliable than we'd like it to be. And when your experience is suffering, then the user experience is suffering because you're not able to deliver the time to delight that you'd like to. You're not able to free up the time that you could be doing thinking about those higher level strategies because you're trying to just troubleshoot the problems that you're having across the network. In fact, by next year, more than 40% of CIOs, so 40% of the businesses that you represent, say that it's going to be really hard to deliver on the business outcomes that they want to drive because they can't allow for that digital transformation. The struggle is real. So, what does it take to be successful to do it? As we said, there are two things. There's the cloud platform, and the second is the convergence of the hardware that we need to think about. In order to, if you start with the cloud as your priority from an operations model, from an operations and management model, you'll be able to better access and allow for security, access, and IoT in your networks in a simple and scalable way. If you start with that as your foundation, you'll then be able to work with your vendors in a different model, using flexible consumption. And that allows you to change and move resources much faster and much more quickly than you could before, because you'll be able to prioritize the different things that you might need to prioritize in a different way. The second thing is the automation and the analytics that come from that infrastructure. Today, if you're typically on-prem, you're doing a lot of that manually. You're potentially scripting it so that you can pull it out. With cloud, all of that is done for you. It's maintained for you. You don't have to do it. You simply have to connect to an API that is hopefully stable, and then you'll be able to pull those analytics out. If you do all that, if you automate all of that as your infrastructure, as your platform, then you'll be able to deliver on the examples like what's here, hybrid work, as a solution. But you also might be able to deliver on a couple of other examples too. Let's say you are wanting to serve a digital business, or you are in a manufacturing plant and you want to track all of your devices and your inventory across your plant. Those are all examples of how by moving to this new structure, you'll be able to simplify. So how Cisco is thinking about that from that cloud operations model is three things. One, you have to have that automation, and that is driven by the cloud. So simplifying those day-to-day tasks by creating an easily scalable way to do that. The second thing is the network insights. So we talked a little bit about analytics and being able to pull the data out. Those network insights are now accessible across your entire infrastructure. The last thing I, again, mentioned is that API value creation. Those APIs are not only going to be able to pull the data out, but you're going to be able to build different solutions and applications on top of your network using things like AI and ML in order to be able to deliver a solution to things that you might be trying to solve. And we know, Jonathan talked about this fact, that this is going to be a journey. For many of you, you may be on-prem right now. I'd like to see, by a show of hands, how many of you have fully on-prem networks, Catalyst and maybe DNA Center? Okay. How many of you are hybrid? How many of you maybe have Meraki and Catalyst? Okay. And then lastly is, how many of you are fully on the Meraki cloud platform? Okay, so not quite as many of you. And then how many of you just really wanted to take a seat because that concrete is hard to walk on. You need a break every now and then, right? It's okay, because this path is going to be different for every one of you based on where you are, not only in this journey, but where you are in the journey to the cloud across your entire IT strategy. And how we're going to help you in that journey is in three ways. One, if you are on-premise and you have, if you have the need to stay on-premise, whether you have security issues or a business need that you might be driving towards, We are committed to Catalyst, we are committed to DNA Center, and that roadmap is going to continue far into the future. In fact, you can even do things like VM for DNA Center, which allows you to be self-hosted in the cloud of your DNA infrastructure. The next thing we're going to do is, obviously, of course, we're going to continue to invest in the Meraki infrastructure, which will allow for those more scalable remote sites to be able to build as needed. But the majority of you raised your hands, and the majority of customers that I've talked about are really those hybrid approaches, where you have Catalyst and Meraki in your infrastructure, and you're trying to see across both. Maybe you even have competitors in your infrastructure. That's where we're going to introduce cloud monitoring. Cloud monitoring is going to allow you to see and scale across both your Catalyst and Meraki devices, and we'll talk a little bit more about the details of that, but you will be able to see and manage those devices in a unified way. And that's where that converged hardware, that cloud managed for Catalyst, and the converged and the cloud platform, which is the cloud monitoring, come together. So we have a little bit of an example from a customer of ours who is actually in this journey himself. And why don't we go ahead and roll that tape so you can hear. Oops, there we go.
HelloFresh is a meal kit delivery service. We've been running for about a decade and hitting almost 20 different countries. So we aim to provide meal kits that are healthy, correct portioned, and easy to cook. Because we're a global company, we are very far apart from our counterparts and employees. So having the cloud to have the applications in every region without having a big footprint everywhere in terms of hardware is really great. So we can get to what we need without the fuss of waiting around or having something physically there that we have to maintain and make sure that's available all the time. The biggest one recently has been able to get our Catalyst fleet into the monitoring as well, something very new and we wanted to try out. But having that has then kind of decreased the issues of hopping into every single switch in our campus to find the problem. We now have that single pane of glass that everyone wants to dive in and have a look at issues. I think the biggest advice is just to get in with whatever workload is the easiest for you to start. I think that first step to kind of see how it works and see that it probably isn't as daunting as you think is vital. So as soon as you get one in, you'll try and get the next one in, and you'll have the path that you want to follow to get everything across the cloud and accessible everywhere, which is just kind of the ease that you want as an engineer. We're already starting to roll out these larger smart warehouses, and they'll kind of utilize a lot more intelligence into how they want to do their production line stuff. I think right now is that opportunity to bring it all together, not just have us as a platform and them as taking customers of that network. We want to be able to give them some insights into their stuff. If we can kind of sew it in and get Meraki and the IoT stuff to be one single pane of glass for their production, and then us have one single pane of glass for our network management, that makes just for a lot more ease in terms of looking at the solutions, getting automation around the data that they're getting, and just making more sense of us together as both production team and a network support.
It's a great story, and it's really indicative of many of the customers that I've heard talk about how they're starting to use monitoring. It's really about allowing the tier 1 and tier 2 customer service to be able to support things in an easier, more scalable way, easier to take the time and requirements off of your most senior managers and senior leaders in order to be able to focus on the things that really matter. And that's the value of bringing together the #1 in cloud management with Cisco Meraki and the #1 across the board in networking with Catalyst, is the drive towards the simplification of your day-to-day. Now, the first step, as Damien talked about, how do you take that first step? Well, cloud monitoring, as I said, is that first step. You may have heard Jonathan talk about it. That first step is available today to anybody with a DNA license immediately. You can leave here and go and sign up for cloud monitoring for all your Catalyst switches. The next step towards full cloud management is moving your access points into a dual managed Wi-Fi 6E access points. And those are also available as of a few months ago and can be managed both by DNA and by the Meraki platform. The early field trials for cloud management with the Catalyst 9300s will begin over the next year, and cloud monitoring for the access points also over the next year to 2 years. So our convergence story does not end there. We have an exciting amount of security and networking convergence that Omri is going to discuss. Omri, why don't you come up stage and share it with us? Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you. So you've heard from Rebecca about the benefits of convergence and experience simplification in access networks. Now I want to talk to you about how we extend this journey of convergence and simplification to SASE in order to unlock its true potential. IT teams today struggle with managing the complexity of applications that are no longer confined to the four walls of the data centers. Applications can run in public clouds, in private clouds, in colos, and even as SaaS applications. And this is compounded by today's hybrid work reality, in which users can be anywhere. Users can be working from home. They can be working in an office location. They can be in a trade show like this. They can essentially be anywhere. So the traditional perimeter no longer exists, and the attack surface of organizations increases significantly. Add to that the fact that cybersecurity and cloud talent is in high demand and difficult to obtain. The IT environment today is more complex than ever, and organizations are less secure. So to help IT teams get ahead, Cisco plus Secure Connect, which we've launched 6 months ago, is our unified SASE solution. This solution converges and brings together Cisco's networking and security capabilities in order to deliver the outcomes that customers expect from SASE, which fundamentally boils down to connecting users wherever they are to applications and resources wherever these are. Powered by the Cisco Meraki dashboard, we deliver a unified and streamlined experience that extends from premise to cloud. And powered by Cisco Umbrella, we deliver all the key security functions that you would expect, including secure web gateways, firewall, DLP, CASB, ZTNA, and remote access. Secure Connect unlocks the true promise of a unified SASE solution by creating this secure fabric that extends from cloud to premise, a fabric that connects users, branches, sites to private and public applications. And it delivers on the secure internet access and secure private access use cases. Now, when we designed and built Secure Connect, we had 2 core product principles in mind: interconnect everything and security everywhere. Interconnect everything is a principle of simplicity. Anything that you connect and attach to this SASE fabric is inherently interconnected. And it is controlled by the policies that the customers set. Customers and admins don't need to worry about where resources are, what type of access technology is being used. It is all abstracted into this single consistent fabric. And beyond that, it also gives you, future protection. So as new technologies emerge, once you connect them to this fabric, you gain all the benefits of this SASE fabric and the platform. Security everywhere is essentially enabled by the notion of centralized management that is powered by the Meraki cloud management platform with distributed enforcement. Policies can be applied in the most optimal location. Again, providing a superior end user experience. You don't need to necessarily backhaul everything to a centralized location. And you can do that without losing visibility, and of course, without compromising your organizational security. With Secure Connect, we essentially extend the cloud edge all the way to the enterprise edge in order to also allow customers to benefit from their existing investments that they have in place. Now with that, I'm also excited to announce that we are further extending the scope of Cisco Plus Secure Connect by adding support to Viptela SD-WAN. Viptela SD-WAN customers can enjoy all the benefits of Cisco Plus Secure Connect for both secure private access and secure internet access use cases. Connectivity of Cisco Viptela SD-WAN to this SASE fabric is done with just a few clicks of a button. And with this principle of interconnecting everything, remote workers gain access to resources behind Viptela SD-WAN sites. And connectivity between Viptela SD-WAN sites and Meraki SD-WAN sites is also established, all managed and controlled through a single dashboard. So you can monitor your entire environment in the same place. This new capability will be available to Secure Connect customers for preview. Customers that have Viptela SD-WAN will be able to access it later this month. So with that, let's go to demo time. And I want to show you how easy and simple it is to integrate Viptela. So first, this is the overview page of Secure Connect. This page by itself brings together security and networking and everything you need to monitor in your environment. You can see your security threats across the organization. You can see the different policies. And in one place, you can look at your sites, you can look at your users, and you can also look at the different applications. Going into sites, and here, like in any good cooking show, we've already connected 2 SD-WAN sites for Meraki. Clicking on a site gives you, of course, access to the site. You can look at the details, you can look at the status of everything, and you can also look at the various security events related to this site. This is where you can also, and you're getting a preview of the ability to look at how we enforce things between premise and cloud. You can see that certain things are blocked at the premise, certain things are blocked in the cloud, and again, this is done seamlessly. Now, to add a Viptela SD-WAN site for private connectivity, all I need to do is go through simple wizard, add the name of the site, click through it, and I get a summary of what needs to be done. I also have access to the commands, and I can easily copy them and paste them through vManage. And once I save, and I go back to my Secure Connect dashboard, I have one step, which I have to do once on the first site that I connect, and I need to configure BGP in order to enable private connectivity. And again, very simple, easy, and once this is done, you can monitor and sites go up. Customers that already have an integration of Viptela SD-WAN with Umbrella for secure internet access can import these sites with a single click of a button. So just by adding and discovering those connections, we add them to the same dashboard. So you can monitor your entire environment from one place, look at your sites, look at the health of your sites. And the other good thing is that you can start applying policies. So here I'll just go through a simple process of showing you how a single policy, which enables access to a company dashboard, an internal application, a private application. This application, by the way, sits behind a Viptela site. Again, the admins don't need to think where this application is. All they need to set is this policy. And from a user perspective, the experience is seamless. It needs to be transparent. All they need to do is to click on the link for their private dashboard. They can log in. Here we did not turn on MFA, so we just go through a regular process, and that's it. They get that. Simple. So to recap, Cisco Plus Secure Connect provides this unified and seamless experience that is easy to deploy and simple to operate. It removes the complexity and increases the visibility that you have across your organization, Some of our customers were able to deploy SASE in as little as 2 hours. It empowers IT teams to securely connect remote users at any point of service and enable work from anywhere. And in a recent discussion that I had with one of our customers, they shared with me that they can now onboard remote users, and I'll quote, 10x faster than before. It builds also greater network security and resiliency, improving your overall organization's security posture with continuous visibility into threats. So teams can better respond to unpredicted events and to changes which we know are part of our day-to-day reality. Fundamentally, it empowers organizations to confidently navigate their SASE journey with this single turnkey solution that is built on the Cisco Meraki platform, which converges and brings together networking and security to create a unified and simple yet powerful experience. So let's also hear from one of our customers on how Cisco Plus Secure Connect helps them with their digital transformation journey.
Milwaukee Electronics is a current Meraki customer of ours, and in trying to improve their security posture, they identified that SASE would actually really fill this gap.
Milwaukee Electronics is a family-owned business founded in 1954. We're on the path to becoming a leader in our market space for innovative electronics manufacturing. Today, we've got electronics at the bottom of the ocean in National Geographic's cameras, and we've even got electronics up in space in the Mars Perseverance rover.
We had several challenges that led to our partnership with Cisco. Supply chain issues in the market to acquire new infrastructure technology, and the desire to get a security architecture that would meet our customers' expectations and regulatory requirements.
The company came to us and said, hey, we need you to find a solution that works. We can't take these random outages. We can't run a business this way. We need something reliable and dependable, and Cisco was our solution.
We picked Cisco Plus Secure Connect because it covered many different needs that we had as an organization. It could do the remote connection for us, it could do DNS and web filtering, and it allowed us to apply the same security principles across not only our physical locations, but to any remote workers we had, no matter where they are.
Cisco showed Milwaukee Electronics how easy it was to deploy Cisco Plus Secure Connect across sites and users in a matter of a few clicks.
Implementing this solution lets me maximize my IT team's resources, it positions the business for scalable growth, and it lets us focus on flexing to our customers' diverse needs.
The services provided by Cisco Plus Secure Connect are critical to our organization, allowing us to expand our security footing and reduce risk to the organization as a whole.
My mission as the company's security and technology leader is to guide us through a digital transformation. Knowing that that begins with a solid foundation for execution, we implemented Cisco Meraki's network infrastructure solution and paired that with Cisco's SASE solution. That let us empower our digitally distributed workforce with the ability to work securely on our critical applications from anywhere at any time.
Okay, so whatever is driving your transformation infrastructure, whether you are like Milwaukee, where you are trying to pull together that security and network, or like HelloFresh, where you're simply trying to scale and streamline and help with those networking operations, we really are investing in simplification at Cisco in order to help you deliver that seamless hybrid work experience, build security resiliency across your organization, automate operations, and of course, create those new customer experiences. With Cisco's networking platforms, you can accelerate and we can help you on that journey. Thank you all so much. Make sure that if you would like to hear some more information, you can scan the QR code or attend any of these sessions for more details. Thank you.